श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। राजा रामचंद्र की जय। आनंद मानंद कर प्रसन्नम प्रेम स्वरूपम ब्रज भावयुक्तम योगीन्द्रमीड्यम भवरोग वैद्यम गुरुं कृपालुं प्रणमामि नित्यम्। वन्दे नवघनश्यामं पीतकौशेयवाससं सानन्दं सुन्दरं शुद्धं श्रीकृष्णं प्रकृतेः परम्। नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमल मालिने नमः कमल पादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Eternally divine souls, as always, we will chant for a few minutes before I resume my topic of this brief series, which is life lessons from the Ramayan. Please sing after me. Let's close our eyes in meditation. Let's do Roop Dhyan as we sing. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana रामचंद्र की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your full attention as I proceed with the topic. There is one God for people of all religions, and that God is almighty. He has infinite powers. There is nothing that God cannot do. Kartum akartum anyatha kartum samarthaha. He is able to do anything and everything. The Ramayan tells us, Binu pag chalai, sunai binu kana, kar binu karm karai vidhi nana. Anan rahit sakal ras bhogi, binu vani vakta bad jogi. Tan binu paras nayan binu dekha, grahai घ्राण binu vas asekha. As sab bhanti अलौकिक करनी महिमा जासु जाई nahi barni. In beautiful words, Tulsidas Ji has said that God walks. He walks although he has no feet. Without feet, he walks. Without ears, he is able to hear. Saint Kabir says he is able to hear the footsteps of a tiny little ant. Without eyes, he is able to see. Devoid of tongue, yet he is a most expert speaker. He has no nose, but he is able to smell. He has no skin, yet he touches. He is able to perform the function of every sense organ, even though being devoid of all of them. So there's nothing that he cannot do. Adi Shankaracharya says, Sa yada sa shariratam sankalpayati, tada sa shariro bhavati. Yada tva shariratam, tada tva shariraha. Satya sankalpatvat, sankalpa vaichitryacha. Whenever God decides that he will assume a form, he takes on the form, whether it be the human form or some other form. We know of so many different avatars. God has come down to earth in so many different forms, in the form of a giant fish, a tortoise, a turtle, in so many different forms, in the form of a wild boar, Shukra avatar. We hear of Matsya avatar, Shukra avatar, Varaha avatar. So many different avatars. He can assume any form of his choice. So he is with form. He has a body. He assumes a body whenever he wants. And whenever he wishes to remain formless, God remains formless. He is Sakar as well as Nirakar. Dvevav Brahmano Rupe Murtan Chaiva Murtan Cha. The Vedas say he is Murt as well as Amurt. He has a form, but he is also formless. It is very beneficial for us humans when God decides to take birth in the human form. And he does so from time to time. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. In the Gita, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, I come to earth from time to time. Jab jab hoye dharam ki hani Badhahi asur maha abhimani. The Ramayan says much the same. Tab tab prabhu dhari amit sarira harahi kripa nidhi sajjan pira. God descends to earth when there is a need for him to come here. To establish dharma and to destroy adharma. To protect the virtuous and the devoted ones, and to annihilate the evil forces. So he does come down to earth. When he resolves to do so, he does so. Smitham is tasya characharam suptam chasya mahapralaya. The Vedas say by smiling, merely by smiling, he creates innumerable universes. And by going to sleep, he destroys countless universes. He is the Almighty One. And because of his causelessly merciful nature, he descends to earth, he takes a human form. In Treta Yuga, in the age of Treta, the Supreme Lord descends to earth in the form of Ram. And he is the son of King Dashrath and Queen Kaushalya. King Dashrath had 3 wives. Besides Kaushalya, there is Sumitra, and then there is Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi had once saved her husband's life. She was right alongside her husband when he was fighting a battle, along with his soldiers. He got struck in the chest, and then also his chariot wheel broke. Kaikeyi was able to save her husband by expertly fixing the chariot wheel and taking her husband out of the battlefield into a safe place, Raja Dashrath, King Dashrath, was extremely grateful to Kaikeyi, and he offered her 2 boons. O Kaikeyi, I am so thankful to you for saving my life. I will fulfill your 2 desires, no matter what they might be. Kaikeyi said, Maharaj, if it pleases you, I shall ask for the boons when it is the right time to do so. And he agreed. So we fast forward a few years, and I have spoken about this, and most of you already know the story, that one day King Dashrath was looking in the mirror and he saw some gray hair, and he thought, Shravana Sameep Bhay Sit Kesa Manahu Jaratapan As Upadesa. These gray hair of mine are indicating that old age is soon approaching. So I will no longer perform the duties of a king. I will now devote my life full time to the practice of devotion. If I don't think about God now full time, then when will I do it? So he immediately made a plan to give the kingdom of Ayodhya to his eldest born, Ram. Alas, this plan was not going to be fulfilled because Kaikeyi decided to ask for 2 boons. Kaikeyi was extremely fond of Bhagwan Sri Ram. She loved him, although she did not give birth to him, but she loved him. And yet Manthara poisoned her ears by saying, O Queen, O Kaikeyi, you are so naive. You should ask for 2 boons. You cannot let Ram ascend the throne because you will become like a maid. Kaushalya will be the favorite of the king, and you will always be subservient to her. Kaikeyi got angry at Manthara, but Manthara repeated her words again and again every day. And so Kaikeyi became convinced that she should ask for 2 boons. And so she asked King Dashrath the night before coronation. She said, Maharaj, it is time for me to ask you for the 2 boons. These are my 2 desires. Desire number 1, that you make Bharat the king, not Ram. Bharat is my son. He should ascend the throne. Dashrath said, but Ram is older. He is the rightful heir to the throne. Maharaj, are you going back on your word? No. With a heavy heart, King Dashrath said yes to the first desire. The second desire was even more devastating, infinitely more devastating, when Kaikeyi said, and I want you to banish Ram to the forest for 14-year exile. King Dashrath heard these words and he immediately fell down on the ground. He could not bear the sorrow of having to do this. But it is also true that he never went back on his word. No one in his family, no one in this Raghu dynasty, no Raghav had ever gone back on his word. Raghukul riti sada chali aayi, pran jaye par vachan na jaye. What a wonderful thing. The Raghavs, the descendants of the Raghu dynasty, they kept their promise, they kept their word, even at the cost of their own life. If it meant giving up your life, you go ahead and give up your life, but you do not go back on your word. What a great lesson this is for us to learn. Because oftentimes we take our words very lightly. We make promises. Oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll be there. And then, oh, I forgot. I went to sleep. Something better came up. We don't often say that. A better offer came along, so I decided not to visit you. But something else came up. I broke my word, so what? Broke my promise, so what? But Raghukul Reeti sada chali aayi, pran jaye par vachan na jaye. So King Dashrath had to fulfill those 2 boons, and he did. But then he fell deathly ill after banishing Ram to the forest, and a short while later he died, saying, Ha Raghunandan pran pirite, tum binu jiyat bahut din beete. After banishing Ram for 14 years, King Dashrath could not bear the pain, and he was on his deathbed, and on his deathbed he said, "O Ram, I have lived without you for too long now. I cannot go on." And he breathed his last. In the meantime, what about Bhagwan Ram? What was his reaction? From his reaction, we are going to learn a lot. From his conduct, we are going to learn a huge lesson. When Ram heard about the 2 boons that his mother Kaikeyi had asked for, he had a smile on his face before he heard, and he had a smile on his face after he heard those words. His father was devastated, but Bhagwan Ram said, "Father, do not grieve. I shall return before you know it. It's only 14 years." He discarded the royal robes and all the ornaments, all the signs that he was a prince. He was of a royal lineage. And of course, Mother Sita insisted on accompanying him, so she also did the same. And Lakshman, what a wonderful brother he is. He said, my brother, my elder brother, who is like a father to me, he is going off into the forest. How will I live this life in a palace? No. I must go with him. I must protect him. I must serve him. So with a view to serve Bhagwan Sri Ram and Mother Sita, Lakshman went along. He insisted on accompanying Bhagwan Ram and Mother Sita. Bhagwan Ram said, Bhaiya, you should stay back in Ayodhya because our father is devastated and he will not be able to do justice to the people of Ayodhya. So you must stay back and help our father run the kingdom. And Lakshman answered, Mata nasti pita nasti me swajano janah. I don't know any mother, I do not know any father. I don't know anyone. I don't know any kith and kin. All I know is that you alone are mine. More sabahi ek tum swami, deen bandhur antarjami. You are my one and only. You are everything to me. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, Mahabharata says. You are my one and only. I know of no other. So now there's Bhagwan Ram, Mother Sita and Lakshman. The same Bhagwan Sri Ram who was wearing royal robes is now wearing very simple clothing. The same Bhagwan Sri Ram who was always who was always riding on carriages and chariots is now walking barefoot in the jungles. The ground is filled with thorns and stones. It's a stony path. But Bhagwan Ram is walking without any complaint. Always a smile on his face. Same with Mother Sita, same with Lakshman. You may be knowing that Lakshman ji did not sleep for 14 years. He summoned the goddess of sleep, Gudaka, and he said, "Please, mother, allow me to remain awake for 14 years because I wish to serve my Lord. If I go to sleep and some wild animal attacks him, what will I do? I cannot allow that to happen. So promise that you will not visit me for these 14 years. And the goddess of sleep said, but I will have to visit someone else and give someone else that sleep. So Gudaka, the goddess of sleep, went to Urmila, Lakshman's wife. So Urmila slept for 14 years and Lakshman did not, because he wished to serve Bhagwan Sri Ram and Mother Sita. So Bhagwan Sri Ram did not complain in the least. He held no grudge against Mother Kaikeyi. In fact, he said, if anyone in Ayodhya thinks ill of Kaikeyi, then he is not a devotee of mine. He is not dear to me. And remember also that Kaikeyi is just she's just acting a role. She's fulfilling the part that has been given to her. She is a great devotee of Bhagwan Sri Ram, but she is playing a part of someone who is banishing him to exile for 14 years. But anyway, that is the divine Leela. But outwardly, people found fault with her. How dare she do this? How could she do this? Even when Bharat came back from when Bhagwan Ram was banished to 14 years of exile, Bharat was visiting his maternal grandparents. When he came back, he saw that Bhagwan Sri Ram had been banished and his father had died. He was devastated. And he found out what had happened. And he spoke very harsh words to his mother. Hanyam ahamimam papam kaikeyim dushtacharinim yadi me dharmiko ramo nasuyen matri khatakam. Valmiki Ramayan. O evil Kaikeyi, you have killed your husband and you have sent my brother on 14-year exile. How evil you are. I would have killed you instantly, but I did not, because I know that by doing so, if I do this, then my Prabhu Sri Ram will disown me for life. If I did not have that fear, I would have killed you instantly for what you have done, O evil woman. He spoke to his mother like this. So Kaikeyi was harshly judged by everyone. Anyhow, Bhagwan Ram did not hold any grudge against Kaikeyi, and he embraced his new life. He had been accustomed to the royal delicacies. Now he's picking berries and fruits off the trees. And sometimes there's nothing to eat, so they all go to bed hungry. This austere life did not affect Prabhu Sri Ram, and we have a very great lesson to learn from this. Life is full of ups and downs. Now, Bhagwan Sri Ram, these are his leelas, these are his pastimes. But we humans, we need to see this, that Prabhu Sri Ram came to earth in the age of Treta. He was banished to the exile. He was sent on exile for 14 years, and he walked barefoot on stony paths and on thorny paths, and he had nothing much to eat, just whatever the trees, fruits and berries the trees would yield. So that when we go through a hard time in life, we may get the strength, so that we may try to be like Bhagwan Sri Ram, even a little bit like him. So that we may embrace every hardship that comes our way with a smile on our face. In the Ramayan, it is written, Jnani bhugate jnanate murakh bhugate roye. The knowledgeable one goes through challenges of life with a smile on his face, whereas the fool is always crying. So we want to be knowledgeable. We want to be the ones who have knowledge. We don't want to be foolish. Bhagwan Sri Ram shows us what a knowledgeable person, how a knowledgeable person reacts to the harsh realities of life. Life is full of ups and downs, ups and downs. Life is never the same all the time. We think that it will always be the same. If things are going well, we think they're going to go well. How can you even think that a prince would have to be in the forest for 14 years? That's unimaginable, but it happened. We suffer in so many different ways. Our scriptures say that there are 3 types of sorrows that afflict us. Adhyatmik, Adhidaivik, Adhibhautik. Adhyatmik dukh or Adhyatmik sorrows, they're divided into 2 categories, physical and mental. We suffer physically. There are small sufferings, like, oh, I've got a toothache. Oh, there's a pain in my knee. Oh, I've got a headache. And these discomforts come and they go. And then there are more serious ones. And then there are those that are most serious. So we go through physical sorrows. We suffer from physical illnesses. Now, some of these illnesses are called, they're divided into 2 categories. One is called karmaj, the other is called doshaj. Karmaj means that you have taken good care of your body. You have eaten the right kind of food, healthy foods. You have exercised, you've done everything right, but still you became sick. Why? It has to be karmaj dosh. Something that has come from your previous lifetime's actions. Something that is called destiny. It was destined to be like this. Sometimes you see a person who suffers from an illness for 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And then that illness disappears immediately, spontaneously. Just as suddenly as it had come, now it disappears just like that. What happened? That's a miracle. It just went away. Well, he was meant to go through that. That was karmaj dosh. That was in his destiny. It was destined for him to be ill for this many years, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And then all of a sudden, he is well. So if you have taken care of your health, you have eaten the right amount of food, and you have exercised religiously, still you have gotten ill, then it is likely to be karmaj dosh. Karmaj, sorrows. Karmaj, illness. And the other is doshaj. That means if you're a couch potato and have been like that all your life, and you don't move much, and you eat the wrong kind of foods, and sitting on that couch, you're eating French fries and chips, and instead of water, you're drinking Coke and Pepsi, drinks of choice. And then you say, why did I get sick? That was your fault, because you were careless. You didn't do any exercise. The only exercise was grabbing onto the remote and changing the channels. So then it's no wonder. That's karmaj dosh. Because we were careless, we became ill, right? Both these are the 2 reasons, karmaj and doshaj. Then part of the adhyatmic dukh is mental diseases, mental illnesses, such as anger. We suffer from anger, greed, hatred, pride, envy. We suffer from all these diseases of the mind. These are called diseases of the mind by the Ramayan. And Tulsidas Ji says in the Ramayan, in the Ramcharitmanas, he says, हैं सबके लखी बिलर नहीं पाए. Everyone suffers from these mental diseases, but very few are aware that they're suffering from them. He says, Manas rog kachuk mein gaye, है सबके लखी बिरलन ही पाए. He calls anger, greed, hatred, pride, lust, envy, hypocrisy. He says these are manas rog. Rog is disease, manas is of the mind. These are diseases of the mind. And everyone under the control of Maya suffers from them. But very few are aware that they're suffering from them. So these are adhyatmic sorrows, physical plus mental. And then there are adhidaivik dukh. These are sorrows that are due to other living creatures. These creatures may be very small, but they harm us greatly, don't they? If someone were to say, "Oh, why are you so bothered by mosquitoes? Such little creatures." Oh my goodness! But you know how itchy my skin feels when a mosquito sucks my blood. Oh, it's terrible. So mosquito bites and scorpion bites, snake bites, bee stings, and there are so many other sorrows brought on by other living creatures. When I mentioned mosquitoes, I remembered something. There was a saint. He went to a particular town, and he was sitting under a tree meditating, and the king king was traveling. He heard about that saint, and he came to pay his respects, and he said, "Oh, holy sir, please tell me, how may I serve you? I am the king of this land." And the holy man, he smiled and he said, "Oh, what can you serve me? How can you serve me?" "Oh, well, I am a king, I will have you know, so I can serve you in big ways." The holy man said, "No, I just want a small favor from you. Anything." "Well, see, when I sit in meditation, these pesky mosquitoes keep biting me. There are a lot of mosquitoes over here. You're the big Raja, the big king, so can you make it so these mosquitoes don't bother me?" And the king had a helpless look on his face. He said, "Holy sir, forgive me. Please give me some other seva. Because these mosquitoes bother me as well. I cannot do anything about them." So the holy man wanted to shatter the pride of this king. He said, "You, a big king, you cannot even get rid of mosquitoes, and yet you have the pride, you have the arrogance of asking me how you can serve me. You cannot serve me, but I can serve you. Sit in front of me and I shall give you knowledge. I shall give you the biggest gift, knowledge of God. I will serve you. You cannot serve me." You see, because the higher one serves the lower one. The lower one cannot serve the higher one. So anyhow, that's just an aside, but there are many creatures that bring on many diseases. Dengue fever by mosquitoes, and so many afflictions. And then number 3 are the adhidaivik dukh. These are sorrows brought on by natural calamities like tsunamis, sandstorms, snowstorms, and droughts and floods, flash floods. There's so many sorrows brought on by forces of nature. And then there is something called our destiny. These days, I'm not sure if you have heard it, I've heard the word kismet used in English. Kismet, kismet, we know that means destiny. Bhagya, destiny, or kismet. So people are talking about kismet. It's a mainstream word. It will become mainstream word very soon. So it is, people say in Hindi, we say, sab kismat ka khel hai. It's all a play of destiny. So we have our own plans in life. We're going along, things are going along in life, living our life, and things are going well, and all of a sudden, something happens that we did not anticipate. If I ask you, and I'm not asking you, but if I ask you to put up your hand, if that has happened to you, I'm sure most people will put up their hand. Something happened out of the blue and you didn't expect it. And that's why we say man proposes, God disposes. We always plan on being healthy. We always plan on being well liked by people. We plan on succeeding. We plan on living. But who knows what destiny has in store for us? So there is something called destiny. The reactions of actions that we have performed in previous lives. Every time we are born human, our actions bear fruit. Our actions, we are held accountable for our actions. We may not be receiving the consequences of those actions right away in that particular lifetime, but we will receive the fruits of those actions somewhere down the line. So we don't know what destiny has in store for us, but we make our plans. We plan on living, never on dying. We plan on good health. We don't plan on getting sick. We plan on everybody in the family doing well in life. We don't plan on our loved ones failing. We don't plan on them getting sick. We don't plan on them dying. We plan everything that we want. But our destiny oftentimes has different plans. We say, why did God do this to me? We find fault with God, but God does not do anything to us. The fact is that we have performed our own actions. God did not perform our actions. Nadate kasechit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in the Gita, I do not perform anyone's actions. I do not perform anyone's actions. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. God gives us the ability to perform actions by giving us a mind. By giving us a mind, He allows us to think and make plans and take decisions. But He does not tell us, He does not rule our mind and say, okay, you're going to do this. Because we don't give Him the permission to do so. So God tells us in scriptures what we should be doing and what we should not be doing, but He's not the one who performs our actions. We are independent. We are independent. Independence Day of India just came and went, 15th of August. For people who have taken birth in India, there are two dates, nationalistic dates, that are etched on the mind. One is 15th August, the other is 26th of January. Independence Day, 1947, and Republic Day, 26th of January, right? 15 August, 26 January. So Shri Maharaj Ji was giving a talk. Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj was giving a talk on Independence Day, and he said, there are some people who are independent of God. There are others who are independent of Maya. In other words, there are those who don't want to be controlled by God directly. And there are those who are not controlled by Maya. They're independent of Maya because they have surrendered to God. Because we are independent of God, we're not allowing God to take over. We are independent of God. And so we are under the control of Maya. So we are performing our own actions ourselves. We want the freedom to do as we like. God says, go ahead, do as you like. You are free to do so. But when it comes to tasting fruits of your actions, then don't think that you are free to taste the fruits of actions, and that you're free to taste the fruits, the sweet fruits of your actions, and to discard the sour and bitter fruits of your actions. You're not independent. You're not free to do that, but you are free to perform actions of your choice. So karam pradhan vishwa kari rakha, jo jas kariye so tas phal chakha. We don't remember what we have done in previous lives, but God has record of each and every thought, of each and every individual, from each and every one of the countless lifetimes we have lived. So here we are making our plans, and there God is smiling, saying, that's not going to happen. You're planning on everything everything happening which is good, but your destiny says no. Many places there are mountains there in your path. Bhagwan Sri Ram accepted everything that came his way. Everything. So many challenges. Sometimes when we read that Ramayan, we cry. It's very sad. Some people say, I can't even watch that Ramayan, those painful episodes. Bhagwan Ram went through so many hardships. And it's true, because he was teaching us, don't lose heart when you go through the rough times. Don't lose heart. Do not be disturbed. Don't lose faith. Many a time we lose faith in God. Many people have said to me personally, I had so much faith in God, but the day my daughter died, that is the day I lost faith in God. What does that mean? It means you never had faith in God. That's no faith. If it's so wavering, then it's not faith, is it? I had faith in God until this happened. No. We must accept what God gives to us. God is the neutral judge who gives us fruits of our actions. We have performed those actions. There is no sin we have not committed countless times in the course of our innumerable past lives. We shudder to think, have I been a murderer? Yes. Have I been a thief? I'm not a thief. But each and every person has committed each and every sin countless times. So when the fruits of those actions show up, then we say, why? Why is this happening to me? When Dhritarashtra's 100 sons, the Kauravas, were killed in the battle of Mahabharata, which lasted only 18 days, it wreaked havoc on both sides. All the Kauravas were killed. And the old and blind king, the father of the 100 Kaurav brothers, he was weeping and he asked Sri Krishna, Maharaj, how could this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? I had 100 sons and all of them have been killed. Not a single one has survived. What did I do to deserve this? Bhagwan Sri Krishna asked Dhritarashtra, do you mean to say that you have not committed any sin in this life? Dhritarashtra said, Maharaj, yes, I have not committed any sin in this life. Sri Krishna said, you're right. You are free of sin in this life. What about your previous life? Maharaj, I remember my previous life too. In that also I did not commit a single sin. And you are right. What about the one before that? Maharaj, I have recollection of that lifetime as well. I was sinless. I was free of sin even in that life. Sri Krishna said, yes, you are right. But what about the one before that? And Dhritarashtra was silent. Well, asked Sri Krishna. Dhritarashtra thought some more and said, Maharaj, I do not remember. Sri Krishna said, Dhritarashtra, you have lived uncountable lives and you remember only 3 lives, this life, present life, and 2 previous lives, and you're asking me what you did to deserve this? O Dhritarashtra, you have committed innumerable sins. So, we have committed uncountable sins. And the definition of sin by Hindu scriptures is forgetfulness of God. We tend to think, what is a sin? Stealing is a sin. Telling lies is a sin. Harming others deliberately, intentionally is a sin. Par peeda sam nahi adhamai. Nahi asatya samapatak punja. So we say, telling lies is a sin. Harming others intentionally is a sin. Murdering someone is a big sin. But the scriptures say, look, the forgetfulness of God is in itself a sin. That is a definition of sin. Because it's only when we forget God that we commit those sins. When I think that no one is watching, God doesn't even exist, and that whatever I'm doing, nobody's able to see, not even God, then I'm going to do the wrong thing. Sri Maharaj used to say that let's say there's a room full of people, and one man finds $100 bill. He thinks, should I keep it? And he said, no. The mind says, let's keep it. The intellect says, Buddhi says, no. Mind asks, why not? The intellect says, because there are a lot of people here. Somebody must have seen you picking this up. So you go ahead and announce it. So he takes the $100 bill. Has anyone lost this? Does this belong to anyone? But what would he do if nobody was in the room? He would quietly put it in his pocket. It means that we are very afraid of looking bad in people's eyes. Nobody should think ill of me. We are afraid that people should not think ill of me. But we are not so concerned with being good. We are more concerned with looking good in the eyes of others. Please think about this. We're constantly thinking, how does this look in the eyes of the world? What will my peers think? What will my fellow man think? What will my fellow workers think? What will my fellow satsangis think? What will he think? What will she think? What will they all think? We don't consider so much of what will God think. Am I doing the right thing? I'm concerned with looking good, but not so much with becoming good. So there are countless times we have broken the laws of God because of forgetting Him. We are not aware of those sins we have committed, so we are not thinking that we will have to pay for those sins. But God knows when to give us the fruit of which action, when to punish us for which wrong action we performed, in which lifetime. When to reward us, when to punish us, only God knows. We don't know. We don't remember what we did today. What were you doing at 9 o'clock in the morning? I was doing something. I don't really remember. At 9 o'clock, I can't say. We don't remember what we did today. How can we remember what we did in our previous lives? We can't. We don't know. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing we don't remember. The only thing we need to know is, yes, there are a lot of spiritual crimes we have committed. And a lot of good things we have done also. No person is totally virtuous and no person is totally sinful. We are a mixture of good and bad. It's like we have an angel and a devil, to use a Christian terminology. We have an angel sitting here, devil sitting here. So sometimes the angel wins, sometimes the devil wins. Right? Sometimes we do the right thing, sometimes we do the wrong thing. So we should expect that there will be changes in life. It will not always be like this. This is why life is not to be taken for granted. Anything can happen at any moment, but we must have faith in God to accept everything that God gives to us. In other words, when God gives us fruits of our actions, we should not object at that time saying, why did you do this? I don't have faith in you. How could you do this to me? How could you be so merciless? We must remember the knowledge that we have been given by our Gurudev. We must remember the knowledge given by the Vedas and Vedic scriptures and explained by the Divine Guru. Because Jnani bhugte jnanate murakha bhugte roy. The knowledgeable one goes through the challenges in life with a smile on his face. And the ignorant one cries at every step. So Bhagwan Ram teaches us that we should be able to accept every situation in life, whether we're living in a mansion or we are homeless. Bhagwan Ram was wandering in the forests. He had no home to call his own. From a palace to the forests. So he has taught us a great, great lesson that we should accept our situation in life. We should, of course, try. We should make the effort. I'm not saying that we should not make any effort. Kriyaman Karma is the greatest action that we can perform. We are free to perform actions of our choice. So we should try to improve our lot, but when there is no scope of doing that, we should accept what God has given to us, and we should accept every situation in life, and we should accept it with a smile on the face. This is a great lesson that we learn from the Ramayan and from Prabhu Sri Ram. Boliye Raja Ramchandra ki jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri